Welcome into Extreme Talk, presented by Complete Wealth Management, Complete Real Estate, your wealth management solutions. Turn this down just a hair and bring up the camera. There we go. Welcome in. Extreme Talk, presented by Complete. One-man band again today. We're going to make it happen. We did it last night. We did it last week. Slowly but surely, it's getting there. So, James Shannon, if you don't know, I'm sure you do, but unfortunately. But we are brought to you by Complete Wealth Management and Complete Real Estate, your one-stop shop for financial coaching and asset management. And we're also presented by Goolsby & Young of Blackwell Realty, Fairlife Core Power Protein, Brent Atkinson with Wycard Realtors, and Sutton Pools. So you'll see that there on the side. Got a good show lined up for today. And if you see me looking this direction, this is actually where where I'm monitoring the stream. So there you go. Good show lined up for you. At 4:15, we're going to have Ryan Scott, coach of the Tennessee Heat. I'll get to that in a second. 4:30, we're going to have Tommy Miller. Had a brain cramp there. Tommy Miller from Jacksonville Christian down in Alabama. They're getting ready to. They're getting set to kick off their season. And then at 4:15, we'll bring on Josh Lumley. He's from the Augusta Eagles in Georgia. They get ready to kick off their season this Friday as well. And then we will recap all of the games from this past weekend, the ones this upcoming weekend. You couldn't have asked for a better weekend of football, at least in terms of broadcast. Now, there were 3 other games, and they were blowouts. And I've been there. I've broadcasted those games. It's tough. Got so lucky and got to do some great games down in Chattanooga. And, of course, first off, I got to start out by saying absolutely love the hospitality that both Grace Baptist and Tennessee Heat showed myself and my crew on Friday. Just first-class programs and schools. Just had a blast. But and the away teams are hospitable at times, but it makes a difference when you go somewhere and they actually, they appreciate you being there. They welcome you there. They go out of their way to try to make things work and make things happen for you, which was kind of the case last night. Kind of running a one-man band and had to borrow a camera feed, and so that's why I said on the broadcast you've got the little white square at the top and then the red circle. Actually, borrowing the camera that was borrowing a feed from the camera that was filming, so that's what that was. But phenomenal games. Top 10 games that I've been at, I think, for both of them. Just the way that both of them were back and forth, and they really weren't that high scoring. I mean, last night was 34-30. It's right there in that middle area. Friday night, 24-16. It was a wild weekend of football, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I don't think, how do I put it? The way that those young men played. Now, there were mistakes, and those are going to happen. But both of those teams, the way they never quit fighting, they never gave up. It was inspiring. It was great. It was great to see. It was great to watch. Real quick, go over the scores. We'll break it down a little bit more later on. On Friday night, Evangel Christian, East Central. Evangel got the win 65-13. Franklin Christian going to White House and beating CCS 44-8. You also had Lancaster Christian 49, Lighthouse Christian nothing. So Lions struggling a little bit. Knights went on and got the win. So big wins for those 3 teams. For the other 3 that were on the receiving end of the losses, they're going to bounce back. They're going to get better. There's always something, some sort of kink or some sort of something you can kind of tweak a little bit, and that's kind of what may have happened Friday night. These teams may have found something where they need to change it up a little bit. So those were big. Those were big wins for the teams that did win. And then the one game Saturday night, Tennessee Heat, Lighthouse Homeschool. Just phenomenal. Got a bunch of games coming up this upcoming weekend, and we'll break them down here in a moment. But let's jump right in. And speaking of that game last night, let's get him in here. You got the whole experience with the phone ringing. Joining me
This is
now is
Ryan.
the head coach of the Tennessee Heat. Fresh off just a close game from last night, it's Coach Ryan Scott. Coach, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
Yeah, hey James, appreciate the opportunity.
Hey, just checking. Is there a bad echo on your end?
There's a little echo, yeah.
A little bit. Okay, I apologize about that. Had to trying to get some things squared away.
No
Um,
worries.
can we still? Will you still be able to understand? Are we still good?
Yeah,
Or
I can hear you fine.
okay, okay, perfect. Um, Coach, coming off of last night, the first thing I want to address is to me watching the game. I know early in the first quarter, and then the first quarter, and it seemed like a little bit in the second quarter. There were some flags, and then of course the one at the end of the game. But to me, it appeared like it was actually a pretty clean game in terms of flags, and I may be completely off. Um, but talk about a little bit about the discipline you saw from your guys last night as a whole.
Yeah, I don't think for the first game of the year that the number of flags were extraordinary. I mean, I think for either side, I think it was definitely a good competitive game that didn't have too many mistakes overall for what you expect from our first game of the season, but definitely disappointed for us because we've been working hard with pregame scrimmage that we did inter squad before the jamboree, and then last week playing both Friday and Saturday night. We were just hoping that we wouldn't make the number of mistakes we made last night, and those mistakes definitely ended up coming back to cause us, to not get the win that we were hoping to start the year with.
Now, a young man that we said his name several times last night, Aiden Luchtefeld. I want to give you a chance to. I know you love all your players, but I want to give you a chance to brag on that little young man last night. 4 touchdowns. He was all over the ball on the defensive side. Um, how awesome is it to see him just really flourish here? Just the first game of his senior year, and to see what's going to be coming up this season.
Yeah, he's a special kid. I mean, you don't have to watch more than one football game to see that he's set apart from most high school football players. He's not impressive in his size. Until really this season, I wasn't even super impressed with his speed. He's always had good speed, but with him now running in a 4.45 40-yard dash laser time, just seeing that gear that he can kick into when he wants to, he really can play above the level that you see of most high school players that you're going to coach and see. So the athleticism is there, but the thing that's most impressive about Aiden, we call him Lucky. Lucky is his nickname
There you
for
go.
Aiden Luchtefeld. The thing about Lucky is he just has a heart for football. He has no fear, plays with great passion, and last night you definitely saw that in moments in the game where he just played at a level that nobody else on the field could hang with. And so definitely have enjoyed all the years I've coached him. When he first came to me back in his eighth grade year, he weighed 110 pounds and was tackling the Lighthouse Christian School's 240-pound running back without fear all the way back then.
Oh yeah.
But now to see his body catch up with all the hard work that he's put in over the years, and just really see him play at the level that he's playing, it's going to be a fun year. We lost the game last night, but I had a lot of fun not only coaching my whole group of boys, the whole team, but just some of the interactions with Lucky last night were just a lot of fun.
And I think I asked you last night. There, that last drive, there with about a minute left, you guys got into their end of the field, and what role would he have played um, if it had come down to a you're in range field goal situation?
Yeah, I had already made the decision. I put a lot of thought into at what distance would we attempt a field goal. And so with the amount of time we had left, I already had made the decision that if we got inside of the 25-yard line, we would have made an attempt at a field goal. With a kid like that and some of the other players even on our team, we can throw a ball up in the end zone, and we like our chance. We use the language 50-50 ball. I like our chances, so you don't want to take a shot too far away, especially with the first game of the season. You saw that we had some issues with our blocking on our extra point, but I was fully prepared that if we were inside the 25-yard line, Aiden can kick a 45-yard field goal. He's made them in practice consistently, and you saw his kickoffs. He was booting them through the end zone. So he's got a good, strong leg, and that's a weapon for us in the kicking game, not just on the offensive and defensive side of the ball.
Uh, you've had to do it several times over your coaching career, and last night was not the case. You had played them before, but when you get ready to play a team, or maybe last night did factor in, when you get ready to play a team for the first time ever, or very limited experience with them, and you know they have some roster turnover, what are some of the steps you and your coaching staff go through, and then in terms of preparing yourselves, and then what kind of what are you saying to your guys? How are you getting them prepared for it as well?
Yeah, I've got a lot to learn in coaching. I'm very aware that if I continue to do this for a long time, which I hope to do, it's a lot of fun for me. Um, that I've got stuff to continue to improve in and get better as a coach. I'm asking my players to get better, and I'm going to continue to push myself to get better. But preparation is so important, and we do prepare. It's hard with us playing Lighthouse Homeschool for the first time last year. We don't have a lot of history and experience. I did get to coach with Coach Duarte up at the All-Star game, but I was really the one calling the offense, so he had more of the advantage of knowing a little bit of my thinking and my playbook.
Right.
I didn't really study him as much as probably he studied me, but I would say that last year's game, I had some expectation that there would be consistency, and I feel like we prepared well for the game. I knew it was going to be a physical battle, and at times our defense did step up and stop them because they definitely did try to run the ball predominantly through the night. But film study and just mentally getting ready, I think that's the one thing I have learned is you kind of get a sense for what the key factors are going to be in the game. And I can say with confidence that I told my boys before last night that mistakes were going to play a big factor, that we needed to really win the turnover battle. I feel like we did last night on that overall, but the mistakes really bit us. And then we talked about that we needed to see more fight. We had decent fight in the scrimmage or the jamboree, but there's a little bit of lacking in physicality off the line and some of our linebacker play in the jamboree. And so I challenged him. I said, "This if we're going to beat Lighthouse Homeschool, we've got to fire off and be a physical team this week." And there was times we were, but we still need to see more growth there. I think we will. We're just really kind of emphasizing that now in our program more, that to be the program we want to be, we have to be a more physical team.
And that question plays into Saturday's game. You guys take on Tri-Cities, first-year program, and you guys have a little bit of a trip to get up there. And I know you're going up Friday. So what kind of things are you working with your guys on throughout the week to get ready for that? But also in terms of an early game like that, because it's a 1 p.m. So I mean, there's a whole lot of curveballs. It's an hour ahead. At 1 p.m. their time, 12 p.m. your time. So an early game like that, what kind of things are you doing to get your guys ready for that game, or what would you do for any game like that?
Well, with them being a program that's starting back up and not having any film, any knowledge of what kind of plays they're going to run, they haven't even played a game this year, so there's going to be no film exchange. Although I'm sure their coach was, able to learn something from us at the jamboree because he was there
Right.
watching us play, but also being able to tune into your show last night. I'm sure he did. So they have a little bit of an advantage. I apologize for my voice. I really used it all last night.
No, all good.
on
It's all
film.
good.
But it's a situation where I heard your interview with him. I know that they have some big boys. I expect us to have that physical fight at the line of scrimmage, regardless of their experience. And I also know that where we're going as a football team is to becoming a much more balanced approach. So we're just going to build on what we already started this week. And I mentioned to you last night after the game, just another cool little tidbit from last night's game. We were tied up in the game, and Aiden Luchtefeld came to me, and he could see the wheels turning. I'm always trying to think about what I want to run on the next series. And so during the change of possession, he came up to me and said, "Coach, give me the football." And I said, "Aiden, I'm trying to get you the football. I just have to figure out how I want to get you the football."
Right.
And he said, "No, Coach." He looked me dead in the eye and said, "Give me the ball. I'm going to run it down their throat." and,
There you go.
and as you saw, he took 3 handoffs and ran over and ran through their entire defense, and not single-handedly. We had good blocking, and he was very well supported. and had fight in his offensive line and that drive and the drive that followed that gave us a 2-score lead. But that's what we're trying to develop this year with a running back of his caliber, with him now playing, as our starting tailback, with him wanting to play college football at the running back position or possibly defensive back. But I really personally believe he's going to be a complete running back at the next level, at whatever level he lands, and knowing that he has that desire. But, with the guys that we have behind him, Wyatt Sutton, who's a freshman, and the brother of Carter Sutton.
Oh yeah.
And then Eli Whitaker, who's a junior. He's number 4. He's a real physical, tough player on both sides of the ball. And then even a young man that is just new to our program, and hoping to see growth out of him, Makai Martinez. We've got some big, powerful backs, and so our goal is to get to where we've been kind of known over the last few years as being a pass and screen team. And we're never going to be just a pure run team, because I like to throw, and I played wide receiver, so I like to pass the ball.
Right.
But we need to become more balanced. If we're going to be a great football program, we need to run the football consistently. And so what you're going to see this season from us and this weekend is a very healthy amount of running the football.
Now you guys have been independent for several years. You were MTAC or TISA, whatever you want to call it. You guys were independent for a couple years after leaving the conference or exiting, and then now you guys are in SEEK for the first year. What does it mean for you guys and for the players to be in a conference again, to have a title to play for, and have just a little bit of a structure with your schedule?
Oh, it's so exciting. I mean, even with the loss last night, I was able to tell the boys, like, man, it's never easy to lose a game, but this was a great win for us, in the sense of playing a great football team, being challenged, having to see how the details matter for when you play great teams, and knowing that this is all building towards something that will help us maybe be able to play for a championship at the end of the year. That some of these games that we've put on our schedule, like a Lighthouse homeschool, or the 4 11-man games that we're playing, and the JV games on our schedule, we just really want to build a program. And it doesn't come down to one football game. We want to win them all, but more importantly is we want to grow and get better. And so I'm so excited with the SEEK conference, because we've always been an organization. I've been involved with Heat football for almost 15 years now, and we've always been an organization that's tried to be very transparent and upfront with every conference, every team that we play. And so when it came to that place with the MTAC at the time, that they were going to enforce the 25-mile rule, it wasn't a spiteful or I didn't feel like it was any type of departure in bad blood. It was this just doesn't make sense anymore. It's been a great blessing for us to play for the MTAC over all these years in football, but we need to go a different direction. What's best for our families and our ministry, and so that's what we've done. But now with SEEK being a program that really fits homeschool football teams better than what TISA now is able to with their rules and the distance rules and whatnot, it's just great to be in a place where we fit, where we're well accepted, where we can really flourish with our ministry and still play great football. So very excited about the teams that are involved. I think there's going to be some good competition right out of the gates. And by no means do we think that we're going to wind up in the championship game without a lot of hard work.
I don't know if we've gotten a chance to talk. And again, thank you for jumping on. I appreciate your time. Last question. I don't know that we've talked since you guys were able to really develop the field there at Charlie Daniels Park. And it's something that a lot of homeschool programs, or even just actual schools, some of them don't have a true home field environment. They have a field they play their games at, but it's like a neutral site almost at times. You guys have really been able to develop Charlie Daniels Park and that whole the field house, the field, and I looked out last night from the box and from the stand, and I mean there's just people all across the side of the field and even on the other side of the visitors. But how awesome has it been to be able to create a true home field atmosphere for you guys?
Well, I really appreciate you setting me up with my last question with the opportunity to give the glory to the Lord.
For sure.
God has been so good to the Heat organization, and specifically to Heat football and cheer and dance. I wish I could take credit. I cannot. I will not for what God has done there at Charlie Daniels Park in the city of Mount Juliet. They have adopted us. They put us in front of the city council and claimed us and said that Mount Juliet is now the home of Heat football,
Oh,
and they
wow.
gave us a 10-year lease on that property. And so we have exclusive access to that football field, the fence line, where we're now able to get ads as advertisements and create revenue to help us grow our program. And then this field house that was falling apart. They were going to demolish it, and thankfully, again, God provided through football families, volunteers, people in the community that I have good relationships with, to all come together as a community and build this thing back out to where we have middle school and high school locker rooms, a weight room, a training and dance room for the cheer and dance program, but also that we can lift weights in and get out of the rain and get out of the heat if we need to. What a blessing for a program that used to practice on a 40 by 50-yard church piece of grass that had glass for broken bottles and nails and
Oh, yeah.
just some stuff that we used to have to do just to survive. And I used to haul trailers full of stuff to and from practice to be able to just pull up, go fill up my water bottle, and walk out and get the footballs in the building. I mean, I feel well, I'm just a blessed man. But yeah, our program has been blessed, and there's no doubt the fingerprints of God are all over it, and we're very, very grateful for what He's done for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking the time to talk, and looking forward to catching up with you guys this Saturday up in Kingsport. Got a little bit of a drive ahead of us.
Yeah, looking forward to it, James. We really appreciate everything you do to promote eight-man football, to give these young men exposure, and it just creates so much excitement. And I know it's a ministry for you, and I just want to take a minute to shout out to Eight-Man Extreme and specifically your heart. It is appreciated. We see the sacrifices you make monetarily, time-wise, and it's a beautiful thing. Your heart for these young men, so keep it up. We're
All right.
very, very glad to associate with Eight-Man Extreme.
Well, I appreciate it, Coach. Hey, y'all have a great week of practice.
All right, buddy.
All
Take
right,
care.
we'll see you. That's Coach Ryan Scott from the Tennessee Heat. Always great stuff. Always good to talk to him and just kind of hear how they prep, for it. And kudos to Coach Scott because last night was a tough loss. I'm not speaking from experience, but I can only imagine. And for him to answer the bell and say, "Yep, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna answer questions about it, and we're gonna move on with it." Kudos, for real. Jump straight into and breaking the fourth wall. I am getting the next call set up. We'll get him on here in just a second. And haven't had a lot of experience with the CFA and the ACAA, but
Hello.
here in a second. Joining me now is Coach Tommy Miller. He is from Jacksonville Christian Academy there in Alabama. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Yes, sir. Good to see you.
Does everything sound okay on your end, or
It does. It's fine.
no? All right, here we go. Coach, for those that aren't familiar with yourself and your program, the Thunder, get us familiar with yourself and your program.
Well, I've been at JCA for about 36 years, and we've played 11-man football for about 10 of those years. The rest of the time it's been 8-man. We're very, very small Christian school. We have around 35 kids in the top three grades.
Oh, wow.
About 140, 145 in all 13 grades, K4 through 12, and we play 8-man football. We will dress about 18 or 19 kids, depending on how an injury comes along, and we have 7 through 12 on this varsity team. So that's a quick overview of where we are.
How do you think you guys? Because you said you've been 11-man, you went to 8-man. How do you think you guys fit in there with the CFA and the ACAA and the kind of programs that are in that conference?
Well, it's a pretty good fit for us. Even in this 8-man league, we're still very small compared to some of the schools in it, but we're a lot more able to put 8 men on the field, and most of the time are competitive with most of the teams in it.
Right. Coach, this is an opportunity that I like to give coaches, and I want to give you a chance to hype up maybe a couple of your players, a couple of guys that going into this season They're going to be leaders. They're going to have to really step up and move, play lights out, play out of their mind. So, want to give you a chance to hype up some of your guys and promote some of your players.
Okay, you want me just to start with them?
Yes, sir. Yeah, whoever
All right.
if there's a specific couple guys or you said you got a small roster. We got some time. If you want to go through it, up to you.
Okay, I'll hit a few of them here. We got Braxton Brown is a senior that's been playing for several years. He'll be starting at fullback and playing linebacker. Not a big kid. He's about 140 pounds, but he does a really good job. Uh, Tyler Dogrel is a senior that'll be starting at tailback. He does a good job for us. Ethan Fair is a wide receiver and cornerback, and Ethan's doing a is coming along really good here in the summer. Wide out position. Jordan Garner, a senior, and Cam Moses, a senior. Both those kids have played for a while, and Cam has had really good practice Friday night, playing better than he has ever played. Um, Travis Barnhill is a junior, and Dion Dupree are two juniors that will go. What they do will go a long way in how we do this year.
For sure.
Dion is a center and nose guard. He's a pretty big kid, 305, and Travis is a quick, fast wide out, but he's also a linebacker. He's a big hitter for his size. Um, then our quarterback is Noah Lee, and Noah's just a ninth grader, but he started last year for us, so he's got a year's experience, and he's come a long way. Um, then Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown's a 10th grader that has a lot of running back experience. He actually started last year, but Hunter has been hit with a case of COVID, and
Oh man.
he's yeah, he's just got back with us, so he probably won't start next Friday night in the backfield. But had it not been for the COVID, he probably would have. So that's several guys that will have a whole lot to do with where we go this year.
That's a perfect segue because I actually wanted to ask you about Friday night. First game of the year, kind of the season kickoff. You guys are on the road against Success Unlimited. Previously, it's a tied series. You guys won one, they won one. Um,
Hmm.
so going into that game, and really just the first game of the year, I like to ask coaches their thoughts on it. How do you prep your guys for the first game of the year, and what kind of things are you working on throughout the season?
Well, the summer, and for me, the first game of the year, conditioning is always the number one thing. It's always so hot down here, and trying to get a kid in shape to play a football game is a hard thing to do.
Right.
We've been practicing late and trying to get in condition so we can play 48 minutes of football next week because most of our guys got to go both ways. And so that we approach it from a point of don't waste any energy and hydrate very well because sometimes in the early games, who doesn't cramp up will win the ball game. And
Yep.
I've saw ball
Exactly.
games won or lost by somebody cramping up or two or three guys cramping up. So we try to avoid that and just prepare as well as we can because you don't know how good the other folks going to be, and you really don't know how good you're going to be. So I
Yeah.
think conditioning is the biggest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you guys, I mentioned the conference you're in, and you've had Russell win the championship for several years, and of course, you guys have only been in there for a couple years, kind of getting your feet wet. Had a good year a couple years ago. Um, what kind of things are you guys going to have to do to put yourselves in a position to where maybe you can knock off Russell, or whoever ends up there at the top of the conference?
Well, I know this is I guess sounds like a cliche, but we're gonna have to not make mistakes.
Right.
That's I know all coaches say this, but it's true. I mean, you don't if you don't make turnovers and you don't miss assignments, uh, you got a chance to win the ball game unless the other guy's just a whole lot better than you are. And in Russell's case, Russell is a very big uh, Christian school, so in their case, as though it's not just being prepared, is they've got a lot of folks over there on that roster, and it's hard to compete with that. So you just don't have any room to make a mistake and win the ball game. You've got to play mistake free.
In a perfect world, are you an offensive or a defensive guy?
I I would say both, but if you had pinned me down, I'd say offense, I guess.
All right, in a perfect world, what's your ideal offense that you're running?
It's multiple. I think we line up in several different formations under the center and in the shotgun or pistol formation. We try to line up different ways and try to get somebody mismatched or get maybe confuse them in the alignment we're in. So we run a multiple offense where we run and throw from both of them. And in I guess the perfect world, it would be line up as many ways as you can and know what you're doing in all of them.
Who's your rivalry? Because I'm just kind of there's some of the Alabama teams I'm familiar with. There's some that I'm not, so I'm kind of digging into it and finding it out. Who's your rivalry? What game do the guys really get excited about?
Well, some of these guys we have not uh, played a lot until the last 2 years. The first 10, 12 years I was at JCA, we were playing 8-man ball. Then we went to 11-man. So during that time, we kind of lost our rivalry for the 10 years we were in the 11-man ball.
Right.
Now it's all kind of developing a new rivalry. I would say it would probably be maybe Tabernacle out of Birmingham,
Yep. Yep.
or even Success because of the 1-and-1 um, the, these past 2 years. So either one of those.
Uh, is there anything any kind of I know you talked about you guys being a smaller school, smaller roster. What are some of the difficulties that you've come across in getting guys to either come out for football or just in general being at the because there's 8-man football is full of smaller schools and smaller programs. So for you specifically, what are some of the challenges you guys have had to deal with and overcome um, being in that environment in that situation?
Well, we have a big percentage of our boys that play football. We just have just a small school. So I guess the challenge is just to promote it as that's where your school spirit's gonna begin. And I always try to emphasize the fact that with football you're not just playing for yourself or not even for just your team. You got the whole student body. You got the fans, the alumni, and we'll have a varsity cheerleader squad. We got uh, 5, 6, 7 year olds that are we call thunderettes,
There you go.
and we got a junior high group, and they all are there on Friday nights, and I mean you're playing for all those folks, and I try to emphasize that, and football is a different animal in itself. I coach all three sports there, and I don't like any of them better than another.
Right.
But football is a different animal, and you do begin your the excitement, I guess you would say, is going to begin with how you do it in football each fall.
Is there any chance that we get a game with a Georgia team? Because you guys are, pretty close to that border, and there's several teams over there. Have we gotten close to getting a game versus Georgia with y'all, or do you see one coming up in the future?
I would love to. I would love to get one in the future. We several years ago we did play uh, a school from Georgia. I believe it was in Noonan, and that went well. But I have not been in touch with any of those people since we started back playing 8-man a couple of years ago. So uh, I would love to get a game with those folks.
You guys have a little bit of a drive. And last question, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, and I'll make this the last one. You guys have a little bit of travel to do this year. You got to go to Victory. You go to going down to Montgomery and play Success Unlimited. Not terrible, but a little bit of a road trip. What do you do to get your guys ready or keep them ready when you're going to be on the bus for an extended amount of time?
Well, on a game like Success, or like you said, when we go over to Victory, and we've got to drive that far, we will try to leave early enough that I can stretch them. We don't try to get off the bus an hour before game time and then get ready to play. We try to eat on the road and just take our time getting there. Um, Try to keep them in a relaxed state. There's not we don't. I'm not talking about cutting up. There's not any horseplay or cutting up goes on Fridays, but
Right.
be relaxed until we get near where we're going to play, and uh, that's kind of the attitude we like to take until we get near within a couple of hours or so of game time.
Sounds good. Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. This has been a lot of fun, and looking forward to keeping up with the Thunder throughout the season and seeing how well you guys do. Hopefully, maybe if we get the chance to go down and do the CFA game, maybe we'll see you there.
That would be great.
I,
Thank you,
I
James. Good to
appreciate you,
see you.
Coach.
All right.
All
All
right.
right. Bye.
That's Coach Tommy Miller from Jacksonville Christian. They're in Jacksonville, Alabama. For those that don't know, there's a Jacksonville, Alabama. So there you go. Now you do. The more you know. Good stuff. I've actually never gotten to talk to Coach Miller. Kind of finding out a little bit about Jacksonville Christian. I knew they were 11 man. I didn't know they were 8 man back in the day. So that's interesting. But a couple years ago, making the switch over to 8 man and been building up some of those rivalries and playing there in the CFA. It's a lot of teams that are very similar. I love the move from with the AIS. They kind of shook things up a little bit in the state of Alabama in terms of 8 man. But I love the move and that was good. I enjoyed talking to him. That was very very. I love giving coaches the chance to hype his players up. Now I never had one go. I've got a roster small enough to run through the whole roster, so that was cool. Let me get the next call set up real quick, and let's see. It is. Where did that go? There it is. All right. Um, Switching gears a little bit. There is the SIFA. They got teams
Hey,
in
how are you
South
doing?
Carolina. Hey, Coach. They got teams in South Carolina and Georgia. But joining me now is Coach Josh Lumley. He is the head coach of the Augusta Eagles. And like I said, they play in the SIFA. Coach, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Hey, for those that aren't familiar, I kind of do this with all the new coaches. With us expanding this year, we're talking to new coaches and new teams. So for those that aren't familiar with yourself and your program, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so the Augusta Eagles is a varsity program for homeschooled kids and also kids that attend private schools or other schools that don't offer varsity football. We also have a JV team kind of in the same vein, a little bit different. We're a Christian organization, so we're not just trying to win games. We're trying to win young men and trying to build them up and help them to make the leap between young manhood and actual manhood. So that's a big focus for us, and you know, um, uh, seems to be going well, and we continue to grow, and we've grown here these last few years that I've been with the program, and so hopefully, Lord willing, that'll continue.
Yeah, for sure. Want to give an opportunity. I try to do this with every coach. Want to give an opportunity for you to promote some of your guys, and maybe there's somebody that is under the radar a little bit in terms of how they play or the passion they bring to the team. But want to give you a chance to promote some of those guys, hype some of them up.
Oh man, that's tough. I have just an awesome group of young men, and so it's hard to pick one, but one that I might mention that might be a little different, to be off people's radar is Ethan Thompson. Ethan played tight end, wide receiver for us last year, and played in the All Star game there in Tennessee at wide receiver, but has moved to quarterback here as a junior. Has a big arm, makes reads quickly, is able to progress through his reads. Is a big guy when he gets out in out in the open field. Really hoping for and looking for big things from him this year. And then we picked up some kids that didn't play with us last year that maybe were in public schools or in private schools that moved over. And Grayson Pope is one of those and playing linebacker for us. And so is new to the position, but is really picked it up well, moves really well, really coachable young man, and is really able to step in and fill holes, which not a lot of inside linebackers at high school level are really wanting to do that. They have a tendency to catch tackles, and so he and Will Crane we're looking for big things out of both of them this year at the inside linebacker position. So that's just a couple guys that maybe below the radar because of the positions that they play, or maybe had a position change this year that we think is going to be big things for them in the year to come.
Yeah, for sure. Now you guys playing in SIFA, it's a little bit smaller conference, 5-team conference. You guys actually play each other home and away, and that's kind of how you fill out your schedule. What are some of the advantages and disadvantages to because a lot of other teams and conferences, you're just going to play the one team 1 year there and one team 1 year at your place. So what are some of the advantages and disadvantages to doing the home and home throughout the season?
Where you get to know each other really well, and that's both an advantage and a disadvantage, I think, because
Oh, for sure.
they know the offense and the defense that we run. We know the offense and defense that they run. Our kids get to know each other. Some of us, they text, they follow each other on social media. It's a really great group of teams. It's a great organization to belong to. But yeah, I think that's really the advantage is also the disadvantage is that you're not sneaking up on anybody. Everybody knows kind of you're not going to out game plan somebody most likely because, like I say, they know what you run, we know what they run. Unless somebody overhauls their offense or defense, and then that's only going to be good for one game because we also play each other again in the playoffs. So not do we just have the home and away, but then a lot of times too we're going to meet them again in the playoffs. We played one team last year 3 times.
Oh, wow.
So, and as we continue to grow, yeah, we anticipate that'll change. We have a couple of schools that are looking at adding to the conference in
Oh,
the year to
nice.
come. And so the conference may continue to grow, but it's important for us that we find like-minded organizations that are going to fit in well, with that. And we have like I said, we have a great conference. All coaches get along. I mean, we have, group text sometimes gets out of hand, and it's good to be able to.
Kind of.
It's going off this morning. I'm like, geez, guys, I'm in church right now, and my phone's about to vibrate off the seat here.
Oh,
Um,
man.
uh, but they're good guys.
Speaking of which, and you guys in the conference, you've got a couple teams in there for the first year, and so for you and your coaching staff and your team, when you guys get ready to play somebody for the first time, what kind of prep work are you guys doing, or what are you telling your guys going into that game?
Well, for us, I think we're always telling our kids that, like, look, if you go out and execute, you're going to be successful. I
Right.
mean, kind of come from that Vince Lombardi school of coaching, where they ran the power sweep and everybody knew it was coming, and they were just going to go out there and do their best to impose their will. So, when you get in against those new teams, it's really focusing on execution, focusing on controlling the things that you can control. Um, and then because we play them home and away, and because most of the teams in our conference are going to make the playoffs, there's a little bit of leniency there that if somebody comes out and they're just great, then well, you'll get another shot at them.
Right.
So, and you'll be able to game plan for that second game. Obviously, as we continue to add teams to the conference, it may be this is our only second year as a conference. So, as we continue to add teams to the conference, it'll that may change. But right now, there's not a whole ton different. Obviously, we don't know them as well, but just go out there and execute, and you'll be just fine.
Wanted to ask you too. Got the chance to get your home field, Lions Memorial Field. Got the chance to go do the championship game last year there, and Of course, you guys weren't in it, but still, it's an awesome
Unfortunately.
setup, right? Well, still, it's an awesome setup, and I wanted to ask a lot of homeschool programs and smaller schools. We've got one here in Tennessee we talked to just a second ago, and they've been able to really develop their field and the whole environment and make it a true home field advantage. But for you guys playing in I mean, it's a legitimate stadium that
Yeah.
you would see at a bigger school. Does that help the mindset of the guys a little bit, or in terms of you're not just going out to some cow pasture in the middle of nowhere and trying to play a quick game. You guys have a real legitimate setup. Does that help the mindset of the guys any?
I think so. I think it helps a little with recruiting too. I've heard people who, after attending a game, who maybe were like, played at a bigger, public school, and then they switch to being homeschool, and they're like, I don't know, 8 man, and they come see a game, and I think it helps with recruiting. As far as our guys, I think, I think if young men want to go out and compete, I mean, obviously we're really blessed in the setup that we have, but we play teams that may not have that kind of setup, and I think that they're just as motivated and just as excited to compete in those environments as they are in our home environment.
For sure.
Um, so I think it helps, but I think maybe it helps more with recruiting than say getting guys up for the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, throughout the season, we mentioned you guys play all your conference team, all the teams in the conference, all you guys play home and home. But you guys get to
Mhm.
kick off the season with Lawrence Academy, and you've never played them. Of course, some of the teams from your conference are in South Carolina, a couple in Georgia, but this is a SCIFA team. Um, you know, when you guys get the opportunity to do that, um, talk about that a little bit, how special it is, and how important it is to really kick off the year, not just to make a statement to the teams in your conference, but to teams, 8 man teams in that area, just to kick off the season the right way.
Sure. Well, it's a barometer not just for us, but for our conference as a whole. I mean, other teams out in our conference are going to play their week zero games the same way, and so we want to see where our conference stacks up. Lauren's Academy has been great thus far, and I know that they've had some turnover at coach, so it's a little bit harder to kind of game plan for them because they get a brand new coach. So I don't know what he's going to install or what he's going to put in, but if he's listening and he wants to send me a text, let me know. I'd appreciate it. Um,
There you go. There you go. You got to shoot your
but
shot.
yeah, I mean, hey, if you're tuning in right now, Coach, feel free to text me, whatever your game plan is.
Right.
Probably only use it for noble purposes. Um, but I mean, it's always you want to get the season started off on the right foot. But we really preach to our kids. It's about improvement. It's about getting better every day, and so we don't want to be the best team in August. We want to be the best team in November,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
especially within our conference and the way that our conference does play off. It's about continuing to get better, and so wherever we're at, we'll take that and we'll just try to build on it. But hopefully we can get it started off on a good foot and just build on it from there.
Is Coastal your rival? Or do you guys, or is every team, because of the amount of times you guys play each other, is every team in your conference a rival?
I don't know if Coastal or Pack is our biggest rival, but
Okay.
I'd say we want to we want to beat both of them equally. But they're good programs and good folks that run them.
Yeah, for sure. Last question. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. It's been a lot of fun. You guys sitting right there. You're kind of on the border. You're not kind of. You are right there on the border with Georgia and South Carolina. So pretty easy travel in terms of that. Um, is there a team that you really want to take a crack at next season? Because your schedule's already set this year. But is there a team
Yeah,
next year that you're looking at and you're going, I want a piece of them?
yeah. I've actually been talking with the athletic director at Westminster here in Augusta, which
Okay.
has an 8 man football team,
Yeah.
and I think we'd both love to play each other just because the travel would
Yeah.
be
Oh, for sure.
would be negated and we'd love to get something set up to where we could, since there's another 8 man team right here in Augusta, to be able to play them every year and kind of hopefully develop a bit of a friendly rivalry.
For
I think
sure.
would be a great thing, and that's really the team that we're trying to make sure is on our schedule next year.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. Tell you what, put that game on a Saturday, and we will be there,
Okay,
100%. So there
I
you
will
go.
let them know.
And it's a Saturday,
I
just
might be able to get it on Saturday this year. What if I could squeak it in?
I don't. Ooh, that's attractive. We might have to talk after the fact.
All right. Well, let me see what I can do, and we'll see if we can get it on the Saturday this year, and see what happens.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. It's been a lot of fun, and good luck on the rest of the year. We'll look forward to seeing what you guys do this upcoming season.
Absolutely appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir, for sure. We'll see you.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
It's Coach Josh Lumley from the Augusta Eagles down there, right there on the border, Georgia and South Carolina. The stadium's real nice. It's really nice. The SIFA championship we did last year in November, it was at that field, Lions Memorial Field there in North Augusta, and that's a really nice field. It's a really good setup. You don't see that very often. There's a couple places that you've seen that, but not many. Earlier, I went through the scores and talked about the games that happened this past weekend. Man, Grace Baptist, South Haven. I do want to talk about the broadcast real quick. So we've decided that this season we're going to try something a little bit different. Of course, in the past, tradition has been as soon as the game's over, it'll go private, and only the teams that played in that game can watch it. We've tried something. We're trying something a little bit different this year, and we will be leaving the game broadcasts up for 24 hours. And just because, especially if it's a Friday night game, a whole lot of people aren't going to be able to watch it because they're playing that night. But it gives people a chance to watch the game. And if you've got a kid playing and you really want to see him, but you're in a situation where you can't really turn it on. I'm sure it's nice to be able to sit down after the fact and watch the game and see how your kid did, or whoever you've got in the game. So that's how we'll be doing it this year. This past weekend was phenomenal. You guys are awesome. Both the games, the views actually doubled after it went live. After the game was over in the 24 hours. So it's wild. But yeah, we'll be doing that this year. So you will get a chance to go back and watch that game. Whatever game we broadcast. But switching gears a little bit, talking about this upcoming weekend, of course, everyone knows via the broadcast schedule. And one other thing in terms of the broadcast schedule, so on October 7th, City of Life Christian was supposed to play Evangel Christian in Panama City Beach, Florida. That game has actually been canceled. City of Life canceled their season. And so Evangel Christian is working to get a replacement for that, to my knowledge. We were going to go broadcast that game, so obviously we will not be broadcasting that game, and we'll get a replacement for it soon. Don't want an empty space right there. There's a lot of good games going on that night. Just got to figure out which one makes sense in terms of the travel, and in terms of trying to get to it. So that's that one, and then I think the rest of the schedule is it's set. So we'll be going to some really, really cool places. But Friday night we'll be in Franklin Christian Community, traveling to Franklin Classical, and we'll just go ahead and jump right into the games coming up this weekend. So Christian Community, Franklin Classical, according to Max Preps, they have met every year since 2009. I know there's some other – I got to sit still. This chair is very turning. I want to turn in it. They've met every year since 2009 except for 2014, and I know the rivalry goes farther back than that. So since 2014, they've played every year. Christian Community leads the series 9-4. Of course, Classical won the first 4 meetings, and then since 2012, Christian Community has won every. So the last game, actually, funny enough, was the MTAC championship game in 2011 they played, and Classical got the win. And ever since then, Christian Community's got the better of them, and so Classical will be looking to get a little bit of revenge. They're going to try to come back. Before we run through the rest of these, let's see, 5:03. We're going to step aside for just a moment, take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We'll finish recapping the games coming up this weekend. And we're back. There you go. Um, so the games coming up this weekend, we did CCS and Franklin Classical. Knights, they've lost, let's see, 9 in a row. So looking to answer back and excited to be at that one. Classical playing their first game, CCS coming off of that game against Franklin Christian this past weekend. Tough loss for them, but they've got to be ready to go, and they've got to it's a rivalry game. It is a big game. So excited for that one. And then, of course, I'll get to the Saturday one. Well, we'll go ahead and talk about it. Saturday game. We mentioned it in the interview with Coach Ryan Scott. Tennessee Heat at Tri-Cities Christian. First game, Tri-Cities first game for them with the new program. They'll be kicking off the season. They were supposed to have a game against the Bradley Knights. That one did not end up happening. So this is the first one. And, most of the home games for Tri-Cities will be played at Lakeway Christian, but this one they wanted to do it special for the first game back, and so they'll be playing it on the campus of Tri-Cities Christian. Beautiful campus. The field is actually up on a hill away from the above the school, and it overlooks a lot of stuff. So it's a beautiful picture site. Excited to go up there. It'll be a little bit of a early game. It will be a 12 p.m. kickoff, 12 p.m. Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So with a little bit of a trip like that, trying to give some time to get back on a Saturday night. Elsewhere happening on Friday night, head over to the Heartland Conference real quick. You've got Unity Christian taking on Arkansas Christian. They're in Little Rock, or Bryant, I believe is where they're at. Unity Christian leads the series 4-5. 2 wins and then 2 losses for Unity, and then 5 straight wins and then 2 losses. So, conference game, rivalry game, I would assume. Unity is out of Leland, Mississippi, so a little bit of a road trip for them, but we'll keep an eye on how that game goes on Friday night. Freedom Cowboys at Zion Christian, first game between those two. There's several first-time meetings on the games Friday night, on the slate of games coming up Friday night, but this is a seat conference game, both of them in the Southern Division. And so it'll be important for both these teams. Zion got to play in the Christian Community Jamboree. Freedom played in the FCA Jamboree. So both of them have had a chance to kind of knock a little bit of the rust off. But Freedom and Zion meeting up in Columbia. So excited to see what comes out of that game. Switching over to the ACSC, Lafayette Christian from Georgia will be heading to Opelika. I believe that's how you say the name of that, I think, to take on Southern Christian. They have played once before. That was last year, and it was Lafayette Christian getting the win 36-34, really good game. And so that one was in Georgia, and now they will head to Alabama for that game. Also happening in the ACSC, you've got Meadowview Christian taking on Evangel Christian in Alabaster. And these teams have played before 11-man. Of course, Evangel won all 3 games, 2019 to 2021. And so first time in 8-man that these two teams have met. Meadowview making the transition last year when the AISA, or this year when the AISA adopted 8-man football. So one of those schools, and there's a couple more on here, but one of those schools that made the switch from 11 to 8, try to help the program a little bit. And, Evangel coming off a big win against East Central, and the 4-time defending national champions. And they've played, last year they played for state. They didn't play for state the year before. In the last 2 years, 2 or 3 years, they've won state. So and that one's coming up. You've got Ezekiel Academy at North River Christian. And Ezekiel Academy, they've met 6 times. Ezekiel leads 5-1. And 2015, the only time that North River got the win in that series, it was that one was close as well, 58-56. So if Ezekiel has held kind of the advantage of the last few years in that game, in those matchups, but Ezekiel making the trip up to Tuscaloosa to take on the Chargers. So we'll see how that one goes. Tabernacle at Lighthouse. The series is actually Lighthouse Homeschool. The series is actually tied at 2-2. Tabernacle won in 2016-2018, and then Lighthouse Homeschool has won the last 2 games in 2019 and 2021. And so Lighthouse Homeschool coming off a big win last night, very close win. And so, Tabernacle was watching. They were trying to get some ideas on what's going on. So we'll just have to see what Lighthouse brings to the table. Hopefully, for those of y'all watching last night, you saw number 22, Ben Hirsch, go down earlier on in the game. I think it was in the first quarter on a kickoff return. So no official word on what's going on with him, and you hope the best for him. The good news is he's a junior, so whatever it is, even if it is season ending, it's not career ending. And so you absolutely love that if that is the case, then that's not it for the young man. And got a chance to hear him at the ACSC Media Day this past Tuesday, and great representative for that program. But for Tabernacle, first game of the year, and they got, like I said, they got the chance to watch the game last night, but you never know what they could bring, what Lighthouse is going to bring to the table. So Tabernacle getting ready for that. Switching over to the SIFA, of course, we just talked to Coach Lumley from Augusta Eagles. They will take on Lawrence Academy out of the SCIFA, which Augusta was independent. They were actually in a conference in Georgia. They went independent, and now they're in the SIFA with Pack Panthers, Orangeburg Christian, Coastal Hurricanes, and Harvest Christian. Harvest, Pack, Orangeburg, Coastal, Augusta. Okay, yeah, so 5 teams. But they'll take on Lawrence Academy, first time playing, first time meeting, and both of them will get their season kicked off on Friday night. You've also got Harvest Christian at Faith Christian, first time meeting for those on Harvest Christian, brand new program. So really a program debut Friday night against Faith Christian. They're out of South Carolina. They're also in the SIFA. You have Pack Panthers heading to Jefferson Davis Academy right there in South Carolina. A couple SIF teams taking on SCIFA, and Jefferson Davis in the other conference. Jefferson Davis does lead the series 2-1. They won the first 2 games, but then that last meeting was actually in the SIFA championship game, and Pack won that game. I think it was 19-14. It was a really good ball game. So really, really tight win, and not able to play each other the last couple years, but Pack looking to kick off the season on the road. And Jefferson Davis, I believe they struggled a little bit last season, so looking to hopefully rebound a little bit and kick off the season the right way. And then Orangeburg Christian at Coastal Hurricanes. They've only played once before. I believe Orangeburg is a newer program. So they played last year. Coastal got the win 66-8. And so Orangeburg looking for a little bit of revenge against Coastal. And Coastal looking to make a statement there in that conference. This is the first game of that 2-game series. They'll play at Coastal, and then later on this season they'll play at Orangeburg. Changing up a little bit with the CFA there in Alabama. And the only reason a couple of these other states aren't getting mentioned is a lot of states don't start until next week. The 26th is when they kick off their season. So this is week 0 for some of these conferences. But for the CFA, we just talked to Coach Miller. Jacksonville Christian at Success Unlimited. Series is tied at 1 since Jacksonville came back to 8-man and jumped in the conference there. And so Success Unlimited has struggled the last few years. Let me pull up their, and I know they're a newer program. Let me pull up their record real quick. Of course, out of Montgomery, it's a Success Unlimited Academy, the Mustangs, and let's see, they have 4 seasons on Max Preps and then 5 counting this upcoming season. Last year, Success Unlimited went 3-5, so they got wins over Jacksonville Christian, and then New Life and Victory Christian to close out the season. So a little bit of a rivalry developing. Talked to Coach Miller about that, and he's trying to continue to grow the culture there. He's been there. I didn't realize he'd been there that long. That's crazy. You don't hear about that very often. In any sport or any level. So that being said, I believe that one of the last games happening on Friday, and again, I may be missing some games. If I am, feel free to DM us or message us. Let us know what we missed, and we'll be sure to mention it on Friday night in the broadcast. But Trinity Homeschool taking on Cornerstone Christian out of Rainsville. Trinity coming out of Millbrook, I believe. First time meeting for those two. Trinity Christian is a independent team. Cornerstone actually formerly, if I'm not mistaken, was 6-man. There are some 6-man teams in Alabama in the CFA conference. That's kind of redundant, the Christian Football Association conference. So in the CFA, let me look and see if we can find. There are a lot of Cornerstone Christians. It's a very popular name, but we're looking for Rainsville, Alabama. Of course, the Cornerstone Christian in Columbiana is they're the ones that are in the AISA now. But Cornerstone Christian out of Rainsville, I don't know why they're not popping up. Anyways, regardless. So that is a first-time meeting for those two as well. So a lot of first-time games happening this upcoming season, and I love seeing it. I love seeing teams. I love a good rivalry game, but I love seeing teams play each other for the first time. And a quick side note, you may notice the hat. New hat. Love Buc-ee's. So, Buc-ee's, call me. Let's make something happen. Let's do something. So here's Cornerstone Christian. They are a 5th year going into their 5th year as a program, and prior they were in let's see, when was the last time? Like I said, I believe they were a 6-man team. Yep, 2019 or 2020 is when they made the move over. Some of the other 8-man teams in the CFA are Chilton Christian, Brooklyn Baptist, Cornerstone Christian is the team, and then Clay County Christian, Conecuh Springs, I think I'm saying that right, and then Victory Christian. They are all the 6-man teams in Alabama. They're 6-man big in Texas and the Midwest. So that's the slate again. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games on Friday night, and then the one on Saturday will be at Christian Community Franklin Classical on Friday night, and then Tennessee Heat at Tri-Cities Christian on Saturday. Another doubleheader weekend. Love it. I can only hope for as good of an opening weekend as this past weekend was. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to call those games. But that being said, I think it's time for y'all to quit listening to me talk and find something better to do with your time. So James Shannon, this is Extreme Talk presented by Complete, also presented by Goolsby and Young, Fairlife Core Power, Brent Atkinson with the Rycard Realty, the Realty Group, and by Sutton Pools. We'll see you Friday night in Franklin.